Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this session to open. Call to order, sorry, call to session. Call to order. Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Borove, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Ayala?
Here.
Councilmember Rhodes?
Here.
Councilmember Judge?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Litster?
Here.
And Mayor Kavanaugh?
Here. Are there any items for agenda review?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Item 1D2 is being postponed to a future meeting. This is the presentation of an honorary resolution to the 2026 City Volunteer of the Year. He is unable to join us this evening.
Thank you. We wish him the best.
I move that all resolutions and ordinances presented tonight be read in title only and all further reading be waived.
Second.
Call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. If any member of the City Council may have a conflict of interest or any reason why that member must abstain from consideration of any matter on this agenda, he or she should so declare at this time. Seeing none, we may move on.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, the first item on the agenda is item 1D1, presentation of an honorary resolution to the 2026 Community Volunteer of the Year. And Senior Center Office Specialist 2, Candice Gray, is here to present this item.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and members of the City Council. Each year, the public is invited to nominate a dedicated volunteer for recognition as the Community Volunteer of the Year. This year, several nominations were received, each highlighting the commitment, time, and talents of our community volunteers. This evening, the City Council has the privilege of honoring a remarkable community member whose unwavering volunteer spirit and service have significantly enriched the lives of our community. At this time, I would like to ask Gina Troncalli Adams to come forward to accept the to accept the 2026 Community Volunteer of the Year Award. Now, Gina has been selected for her many years of unwavering service and exceptional leadership across a wide range of community programs. Her volunteer work includes service with the Rotary Club of Simi Sunrise, the Day of Peace Planning Committee, and 3 years as president of the Simi Valley Cultural Arts Foundation Board. She has supported numerous community fundraisers and events, including the Happy Face Music Festival and Oktoberfest. Gina co-organized the 2025 Hispanic Heritage Festival and helped plan the first Hispanic Heritage Film Festival, strengthening cultural awareness and community pride. She also organized the Colors of India Art and Performance event, creating a vibrant platform for cultural expression. Her fellow volunteers often say that no simply isn't in Gina's vocabulary when there is a need. She always finds a way to help. Gina's dedication and passion for uplifting others reflect the very best of Simi Valley and set a powerful example for our community. The City Council is proud to honor Gina Troncalli Adams as the 2026 Community Volunteer of the Year and expresses its sincere appreciation for her inspiring service.
Our handheld microphone is not working, so we're utilizing this tonight. But I want to say, Gina, you have done a fantastic job. Every time I run into you, you're busy doing something, and you've really made a big difference in our Cultural Arts Center. And I really personally want to thank you for that, as well as the entire City Council. So you're a great addition to our community, and we just love having you here. And this is a very well-deserved recognition. Do you want to say a few words?
Thank you. Well, I'm truly honored by this recognition, and I stand humbly alongside hundreds of others in our city who contribute thousands of volunteer hours through our service organizations and nonprofit groups. Volunteers are what make our city a special place. When we come together to serve others, we create community. Volunteerism is even written into our city government's mission statement, and for good reason. Working together for a common purpose gives us a sense of belonging and unites us in spite of our differences. I'm so blessed by the friendships I've made by becoming involved, and I encourage others to find a cause and sign up. Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D3, presentation of a proclamation declaring the month of April 2026 as Fair Housing Month, and Deputy Environmental Services Director Cynthia McCullough is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and members of the City Council. Tonight, we are pleased to recognize the City of Simi Valley's ongoing commitment to ensuring equal housing opportunities for all residents. Unfortunately, due to the Housing Summit, our representative from the Housing Rights Center could not be in attendance tonight, but I will go ahead and read the proclamation. This April marks the 58th anniversary of Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, the Fair Housing Act. As a key achievement of the civil rights era, it established national protections against discrimination in the sale, rental, and financing of housing based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, or disability. California expanded these rights through the Fair Employment and Housing Act and the UNRRA Civil Rights Act, which prohibit discrimination based on age, ancestry, gender identity, sexual orientation, source of income, veteran status, marital status, primary language, and other characteristics. The city partners with Housing Rights Center to investigate discrimination, provide counseling services, and educate both tenants and housing providers about their rights and responsibilities. While significant progress has been made over the years, continued education, outreach, and enforcement remain important to ensure that everyone has equal access to housing opportunities. This proclamation reaffirms the city's commitment to fair housing and to fostering a community where all residents are treated with fairness, dignity, and respect. In recognition of these efforts and the ongoing work to promote equal housing access, the City Council proclaims April 2026 as Fair Housing Month in the City of Simi Valley.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D4, presentation of Employee of the Month to Gamaliel Duran, and Public Works Director Ron Fujiwaki is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and council members. Gama, do you want to come up? And while he's coming up, I want to take a little bit of time to show you a couple of videos. Okay. Of why we're here to honor Gama. Here's the mess that he and his crews cleaned up. It was a tree that fell all the way across. There you can see some downed power lines. And you can see that stump, tree stump, that's what they had to work on all day in order to chop it up, in order to get it so that it can be removed and get the repairs in. I think the thing's taller than I am.
Well, I'm impressed.
So, so this evening, it is my privilege to introduce Gamaliel Duran as Employee of the Month for April. Gamaliel, or Gamma for short, and much easier, is a tree trimmer too in the landscape maintenance section and has been with the Public Works Department for over 2 years. Gamma Duran was nominated for Employee of the Month due to his response and actions taken to resolve a recent emergency call-out, as well as his continuous exemplary work history. On January 10th, 2026, at approximately 12 noon, a call was issued for a tree crew to respond to a major incident involving a 75-foot eucalyptus tree that had fallen across Walnut Avenue west of Tapo Canyon Road. The fallen tree had interrupted utility service for the immediate residents in the area. The situation was what we called a trifecta utility disaster, as it tore down Edison lines, lifted and separated a gas main line, and damaged a water line. The utility repairs could not be completed until the massive tree was removed, and you saw how big that thing was. Gamma immediately gathered his crew and equipment and proceeded to the work site. After more than 10 hours straight, Gamma was pivotal in coordinating efforts between our landscape and water groups and the Edison and SoCal gas teams in clearing the debris, which allowed access for temporary utility repairs and restoring all utilities to our residents. At no point did he hesitate, only focused on finishing the task at hand. For his efforts, we thank Gamaliel Duran for outstanding work and are honored to award him the April Employee of the Month. Congratulations, Gamma.
And he has some friends and coworkers right back there celebrating with him. So thank you all for being here. This is very, very well deserved. Thank you for all you do. That tree trunk was huge. Yeah, pretty big, yeah. I don't know if we have a fireplace that'll fit in. That was pretty good size. But thank you for all you do. And that was a wonderful, like you said, a trifecta, to have to deal with all three of those different utilities at the same time. So thank you for doing a great job for you and your team, and we really, really appreciate you. Would you like to say anything?
Thank you.
Come on.
Well, I'd just like to thank my crew because I wouldn't be able to be so efficient if we didn't adapt to each other the way we do. And to my boss, who has given me this opportunity to work here. Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for all you do. You're doing a great job.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D5, proclamation declaring April 2026 as Earthquake Preparedness Month in Simi Valley, and Emergency Services Manager Eileen Connors is presenting this item, and accepting the proclamation are Tech Reserve David Fisher and Disaster Service Worker Volunteers Ed Baker and Phil Ankrum.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the City Council. As we move through April, our attention shifts to earthquake preparedness, a crucial aspect of safety in earthquake-prone regions such as California. In recognition of Earthquake Preparedness Month, the City of Simi Valley, through the 2026 Earthquake Preparedness Month proclamation, encourages residents to leverage technology for timely alerts and refresh emergency plans and supplies to keep themselves and their families safe during an earthquake or other emergency. We invite you to take action and get prepared before shaking begins by taking the following steps. Download the MyShake app to have earthquake information at your fingertips. Register for VC Alert to receive time-sensitive emergency notifications by text, phone, or email, and those are good for all emergencies. Sign up for our next Community Emergency Response CERT team training to learn basic disaster response skills. Each of these actions contributes to the preparedness and resiliency of our communities. Thank you. Thank you. Gentlemen, we have to go to this microphone. How many of you have a go bag ready for when it hits? If you've taken CERT, you really learn how to do that. So, and then after CERT, you go to DSW. So anyone that wants to volunteer or sign up, please do so. Like Gina said earlier, sign up and do something about it. So, but we just really wanted to say thank you for our emergency preparedness, our DSW workers. When I took CERT and then did DSW for a short time, you have to think about it. We don't have enough first responders in our community to help everybody. So you have to help yourselves first and then help your neighbors. So that's what's great about DSW. Who knows how to read a Thomas guide? You still know how to do those things? Yeah. So I know I'm aging myself, but my dad taught me how to do one of those. But we really want to thank each and every one of you for your volunteerism, all the time and effort you put in. Eileen, you're doing a great job here. We're so proud of you. And your whole program is just awesome. So would you like to say a few words? I would. Okay.
I would just like to say that volunteering is a real privilege, and to do it in my town that I'm so proud of. And I have a great team of people that I get to work with, and it makes volunteering a lot of fun. If you want to know more about our program, we will be at the upcoming street fair. We'll have a booth there, and you can come by and we can talk to you about CERT and disaster preparedness and joining our team. So thank you very much.
Thank you all.
So good evening. As you all know, we are having some technical difficulties with our handheld mics, so we're using the podium mic, but we're also having some technical difficulties with our voting system, as well as potentially our timer on our podium mic. So this evening, the council will be doing a voice vote for all action items. So be prepared for that. We haven't been able to display the vote, and just for sake of transparency, I want to ensure that the community and the residents in the chamber see what the council is voting and who is voting how. And then the next item is in terms of the timer for the podium for public speakers tonight. Unsure if the podium timer is going to work. If it is not working, then Lucy, the city clerk, Lucy Blanco, will be using her cell phone timer. So when you hear the cell phone timer go off, then your time will be up. We'll let you know when you come up what is going to be the process this evening. So thanks all for your patience. Sorry about that. Apparently spring break wasn't ready to be done yet. So thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, you may proceed.
Thank you. Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 2, public statements on appointments, special presentations, and informational reports. We have 2 speakers this evening. The first speaker is Sarah Wilczewski. Hold on one second.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Sarah Wilczewski, and I would like to point out once again how difficult it is to make an informed comment before the presentation has even happened. And I would like to read a statement from a friend who cannot be here tonight. There have now been 37 people abducted by ICE from Simi Valley. I want to continue my conversation from February 23rd about Flock cameras with you. Flock is not a trustworthy company. In December 2025, and again in February 2026, Flock updated the items and conditions of its subscription service contracts. Much the same that your cable company updates its terms and conditions, your continued use of the system implies your consent. There were 147 changes under the new terms and conditions. SVPD can search SV Flock database for 30 days, but now Flock has a perpetual, irrevocable, worldwide, royalty-free license. They deleted, Flock does not own and shall not sell customer data. They deleted the entire section restricting Simi Valley data use for training. No more removing personal details, separate storage, or restrictions on sharing with third parties. Since last fall, there has been a growing conversation about Flock within the US, often driven by people inspecting Flock search audit logs. Flock's response has been to limit information available in audit logs. When I spoke to you in February, I noted that the encrypted user ID field has not been replaced with asterisks. The camera count field was gone, and the reason field had shown an alarming increasing trend of being blank. Since then, the number of blank reasons has gone down from 43% to 15%, but it's not zero as it was in November and December. The number of cameras queried field has also been replaced. Flock cameras use the Android B operating system. This OS has been unsupported since 2021. There are 51 security findings for Flock filed with the National Vulnerability Database, 22 of which are flagged as common vulnerabilities and exposures. Flock has acknowledged them. The response has been that exploration requires physical access and intimate knowledge of the hardware. Is nonsense, since a video showing how to do a 30-second hack allowing a complete takeover and control of a Flock camera is available.
I'm sorry, your time is now up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carla C.
According to the SVPD Flock Transparency Portal, the data that is owned by Simi Valley, California PD and is never sold to third parties. This data is prohibited to be used in immigration enforcement, amongst other things. I can't help but notice that under the organizations granted access to the SVPD data section, there are over 100 organizations, agencies, and/or entities listed there, including Ventura County Sheriff's Office. I want to know what exactly is the process that SVPD and you as the City Council implements to guarantee that these agencies are not willing to give data to immigration enforcement. As we know, Sheriff Jim Fryhoff explicitly communicated that they work with ICE and willingly provide information to them. I don't know about anyone else, but that doesn't seem to guarantee any privacy or transparency from SVPD. Did someone actually go through every one of these agencies' policies regarding Flock cameras? Or was it a lazy copy and paste? What happens when Flock or other LPR companies change or delete or add to their terms and conditions? How will the city and specifically SVPD guarantee full transparency to the public? Who's in charge of guaranteeing these transparency protocols? A lot of questions, no answers. Any steps going forward with Flock and SVPD should take into account constituent input, and there should be full transparency to the public on any changes. And I know that whatever we're going to be seeing presentation will probably just be read verbatim, so I actually want to know the answers to those questions.
Thank you.
And Mayor, that was the last speaker for this item. Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3A1, appointment to the Community Projects Grant Review, and Deputy Environmental Services Director Cynthia McCullough is presenting this item.
Good evening again. The City Council created the Community Projects Grant Review Committee to review applications and provide funding recommendations to the City Council on the distribution of grant funding of up to $150,000. The review committee is comprised of 7 representatives from each of the 4 neighborhood councils, the Youth Council, the Council on Aging, and the community at large. During their regular March meetings, each advisory board nominated a representative, and the recruitment for the community at large member position began on February 2nd and ended on February 16th. Councilmember Judge and Councilmember Rhodes conducted interviews on March 10th and nominated 1 representative. A total of 7 nominees are being recommended to serve on the review committee, with terms commencing immediately and concluding when the City Council awards the fiscal year 26-27 funding. A few of the nominees are present this evening, and as I call your name, please come forward. Representing NC1, Paul Chandler. Representing NC2, Gail Sutton. Representing Neighborhood Council 3, Steve Busco. Representing NC4, Deanna Block. Representing the Council on Aging, David Lewis. Representing the Youth Council, Aman Sudrith. And representing the community at large, Nadia Kurpansky. It is recommended that the City Council approve and the mayor appoint these 7 nominees to the Community Projects Grant Review Committee. This concludes the report, and staff is available to respond to questions.
I don't think we have any questions. We appreciate the process. I know we need to make a motion. I thank you for those of you who are willing to serve on this difficult, it gets harder and harder every year, just so you know. In fact, I think we need to argue that it's time to raise the amount that we give out, but that's a whole nother question. We appreciate your efforts, and so I would like to nominate, or that we approve the 7 nominees for the Grants Selection Committee.
Second.
I will now call a voice vote. Councilmember Ayala?
Yes.
Councilmember Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilmember Judge?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Litster?
Yes.
And Mayor Kavanaugh? Yes. The motion passes unanimously. Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3A2, selection of 2 City Council members to conduct Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, Paratransit Advisory Committee interviews. And Deputy Public Works Director of Transit, Ben Gonzalez, is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and council members. The Americans with Disability Act Paratransit Advisory Committee is comprised of 7 members appointed by the City Council, including 5-member status and 2 alternate status. The committee advises the city on issues such as service availability, service policy, accessibility associated with transportation of persons with disabilities. 4-member positions and 1 alternate position on the committee will become open when terms expire on May 30th, 2026. 5 applications were received during the recruitment process. It is requested that City Council select 2 council members to interview and nominate 2 applicants to the ADA Paratransit Advisory Committee. This concludes the report and available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Is there any interest? I don't know if my speaker part is working, so if anyone said they wanted to speak. Okay. Councilmember Ayala.
I've done it before. I'm on that committee, so I don't mind doing it again.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Litster.
Excuse me. Happy to nominate a gentleman if you'd like to. I know that Joseph and I did it last year. It was actually a very rewarding opportunity to select people just because they're such outstanding candidates and care about our community transportation. But so I would be happy to do it unless you gentlemen would like the opportunity.
Either one? No? Okay.
I'd like to nominate Councilmember Ayala and Mayor Pro Tem Litster to serve on this board, the ADA Transit Selection Committee.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Councilmember Ayala?
Yes.
Councilmember Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilmember Judge?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Litster? Mayor Kavanaugh?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously. Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3B1, informational report by Youth Employment Services Board Chair Anthony Angelini.
Welcome, Mr. Angelini.
Good evening. Mayor Kavanaugh, members of City Council, and our great city staff. My name is Anthony Angelini. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. I'd like to start with a quote from President Franklin Roosevelt, who said, "We cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can always build our youth for the future." And as the chair of the Youth Employment Service Advisory Board, or the YES, yes, I have the honor of presenting our annual informational report, and I hope to show how our board works hard to build up the youth for the future. The Youth Employment Service Advisory Board was established in 1982, same year Thriller came out. It is comprised of 15 members and up to 3 alternates that include representatives of government agencies, schools, employers, and community members at large to discuss employment issues that relate to youth. Simi Valley is one of the few cities in the region that offers this type of service to prepare our young people for the jobs of the 21st century. I did look this up before I got here, and no, Thousand Oaks does not have a youth employment service. So, scoreboard. Our board's continued focus has been on workforce development of youth, connecting them with various career pathways, as well as promoting the hiring of teens and young adults as they start climbing the economic ladder. The following represent a few programs held to accomplish these goals. Annually, YES co-hosts a summer workshop series at the Simi Valley Public Library that last year included the following seminars. The Entrepreneurism and College Scholarships Workshop covered self-employment options for teens, workplace ethics and safety, and various scholarship opportunities, and how to effectively use your employment experience when applying for scholarships. The workshop also featured teen speakers who had started their own businesses and scholarship advisors. Councilman Rhodes, don't worry, the kids were not starting a coffee business, so you have no competition there. The Mastering Interview and Soft Skills Workshop covered appropriate interview attire, basics of confident communication, common interview questions and how to answer them, and the follow-up process. Soft skills often requested by employers, such as reliability, professionalism, and problem solving, were also discussed. I've been told all of my skills are soft. YES also hosted a new workshop at the Simi Valley High School during summer school in an effort to meet the students where they're at. The topic of this workforce was financial literacy, one of our most requested and popular workshops. We appreciate our partnership and collaboration with Erica Ayala of JP Morgan Chase, who helped lead those sessions. Erica rocks. YES had a booth at the Simi Valley City Expo section of the Chamber of Commerce's Street Fair. I think I saw all of you there. Yeah. YES advisory board members had the opportunity to interact with hundreds of community members, promote our programs, provide interview skills, workbooks, and hand out YES branded tote bags, pens, and construction hats. I was asked kindly not to wear one of the construction hats tonight to the council chambers. So, in November, YES hosted its 8th annual volunteer fair at the Simi Valley Public Library for community members of all ages. This free event was designed to connect local nonprofits with potential volunteers. 25 nonprofit organizations attended to provide information and offer opportunities, and the Youth Council partnered with YES to host several volunteer projects on site. Our major program is teaching essential interview skills workshops. In February, over 1,000 local sophomore students received training on things like work permits and labor laws, application completion, digital first impressions, follow-up procedures, networking basics, the interview process, common questions, resume writing, workplace ethics, and best practices on leaving a job. Each participant also received a comprehensive, up-to-date supplemental interview skills workshop handbook. The first YES Job and Career Fair was held in 1987, same year that The Simpsons debuted. Since then, almost 27,000 youth have been served. Our 38th annual event was held Saturday, March 21st from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And to better align with employer hiring schedules, the Job and Career Fair was held a month earlier than is typical. But for the 5th year in a row, in true library takeover fashion, the event was held at the Simi Valley Public Library. And we thank our partners and sponsors, including the Simi Valley Public Library, the Simi Valley Chamber of Commerce, the Simi Valley Family YMCA, and the Rotary Club of Simi Sunrise. Never heard of it. This free event featured practice interviews, on-site interviews with employers, exposure to career options, internship and volunteer opportunities, assistance with completing job applications, workstations to submit online job applications, help writing resumes, and a financial literacy workshop hosted by JP Morgan Chase. New this year, the Job and Career Fair also featured the Ventura County Workforce Development mobile bus called Workforce on Wheels. Wow. Thank you.
It's called WOW.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were just impressed with it. Also, free professional headshot photography was offered courtesy of Vander Jordan, and a partnership with the YMCA to provide free interview and business attire to attendees as part of their annual prom closet. I was very excited about that. I see that as someone that wears a suit every day. I see that as a very valuable partnership, and I'd like it to be called Suit Up Simi Valley in the future. But this year, 28 employers and organizations participated in the job fair, along with almost 400 teen and adult job seekers that attended. Looking ahead, YES is currently working with the Chamber of Commerce to host a new workshop for employers focused on what employers need to know about work permits and the benefits of hiring youth and how to make that easier. Reminds me, I need to talk to Kathy about that. Much of what the YES board accomplishes would not be possible without key collaborators with the Chamber of Commerce, the local business community, the Simi Valley Unified School District, the Rotary clubs, and numerous community volunteers. Our call to action, so to speak, is to encourage more local employers to hire youth, whether paid or unpaid interns, to provide critical opportunities for youth, to build job skills, to offer job shadow experiences, to provide youth exposure to various career opportunities, and to help get involved by participating in the job and career fair. This results in a robust and skilled labor force, which results in a healthy talent pool for businesses to hire from, which results in more economic investment in Simi Valley. Thank you all for continuing to support the work of the Youth Employment Service Advisory Board and the Youth Employment Service Program. We invite each of you to come and witness the work that the board does by attending our events or joining us at our regular board meetings at 8:15 on the third Wednesday of every month, August through June, in the City Hall Community Room. Thank you for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have about our YES program. Thanks again.
Thank you. Any questions from the dais? Councilmember Rhodes?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for the presentation, Mr. Angelini. This committee has a special place in my heart. It was the first committee that I joined as a civic community. I've, of course, been part of Rotary, but this was a place where I grew as much as those who were trying to get the skills for interviewing. And I want to elaborate a little bit on the interview skills workshops. And they're taken to each of the high schools, and each of the students from 10th grade come through, and speakers from many different vocations take part in giving pieces of the presentation to the students. And it is fascinating to watch. You can see who is ready to work and clued in, and it's so incredibly valuable to them. And the workbook that has evolved over time that they get to leave with is pretty incredible. Coffee, by the way, is an outstanding vocation, and I encourage anyone to get in it. And just a note, maybe, Mr. Angelini, if you ever watched the Youth Council give a report, wow, they're really, really good.
Yeah, okay.
No, but thank you for the report. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
sir.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Litster?
Thank you, Mr. Angelini. Very, very informative, and I want you to know you certainly got the memo on dressing for success. You got the look. Actually, I saw him jogging this morning on the corner. He was not. I just want you to know he knows how to clean up. I just want to be very clear. I did see him going to work. Anyway, Not attired like this, but well done, Anthony.
They didn't believe me when I said I saw the mayor pro tem jogging.
I was a little concerned. Anyway, that's another story. But yes, he was doing. I saw him. So I just want to say thank you for hosting the volunteer fair. There's such a need for volunteerism, and ironically, volunteering actually can lead to employment. But I know I've had several people who were unaware and made a big difference by showing up to collect volunteers. So thank you. I do have a question. Do we have any placement statistics? Do we know, do we have a sense of youth that have actually received employment based on some of the job fairs? Or is it just, or anecdotal is fine, I'm just curious.
It's not something that we specifically track, although we do exit surveys at the job fair. So we do track how many had interviews, how many applications were submitted. And I know anecdotally, I just the week after the job fair had a young woman reach out to me to schedule some more interview practice. They gave her my contact information there at the job fair, and she just wanted additional practice with interviews. And so we scheduled a time, and then when I sent her, it was going to be online, so when I sent her the Zoom link to do it a couple days later, she immediately called me and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I need to cancel. I actually got a job." And I said, "Well, who did you end up working for?" And she said, "Crunch Fitness. I met him at the job fair. I talked to him. They gave me an interview, and I got hired." So at least anecdotally, it's working.
Wonderful. And I will add anecdotally, I have a son who, when this was a couple years ago, but who was in need of employment. And I showed up and I said, "Wait a minute, my son should be here." I called him, immediately went home. He grabbed his resume, came back, and it absolutely was a job that he picked up there that really sent him on a trajectory to what he wants to do. So thank you. I do appreciate, Anthony, what you're doing and the entire board. So please send our thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you. Just three things. First, Anthony Angelini is the new chair and he's doing a great job. So I think this is the first time he's presenting to us, and I think he's a great addition because he has the partnership with the chamber. We're able, and connections. So in those committee meetings, we're really able to build upon those relationships to make things happen. The second thing is, Mr. Fowler talked about the exit surveys. And when we're in those committee meetings, one of the things I really appreciate that we do is you guys give you tell us about the feedback that the students provide. And we really do take that into account to develop the programs even better going forward. And so they had some really great recommendations for the interviews that we did at the high schools that we can incorporate now for next year. So we really do listen to them and take that into account. And then Mr. Fowler talked about, he just alluded to one thing that I was gonna mention, which is outside of these events, for any student who wants some additional interview help, or they're going to have an interview or something like that, they can contact Ryan Fowler throughout the entire year, and he will take the time to schedule time with them. So even though we do these events throughout the year, if you have a student that just needs help during that week or the following week to get ready, we do have a service for that. So he always mentions that to them, but I just wanted to reinforce that the service that you provide. So thanks to both of you.
Thank you. City Manager Argabright.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also just wanted to respond to Mayor Pro Tem Litster in terms of anecdotal success stories. I actually got my first job from the Youth Employment Service Job Fair back in 1995. So I don't know what premiered that year, Mr. Angelini, but
Anaconda.
So I got my first job through the Youth Employment Service Job Fair at Countrywide, which no longer exists. But and then I was actually, my first job at the city was YES coordinator, and our former city manager, Mike Siddell, that was his first responsibility at the city as well. So.
Oh, thank you both. And I enjoy going to that and seeing the students talking to the potential employers and learning how to do interviews and such. But it's just, you can read the excitement in the room. It's really, really nice. And I got 2 little rubber duckies. So it was an overall good visit. But no, you guys do a great job. Thank you very much for all you do. Thanks, Mr. Angelini.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3C1, presentation on flock data by Sergeant Patrick Zajac.
Welcome, Sergeant. And Chief.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's good to be back. We are here to provide a Flock LPR update. I hope to not go verbatim. I kind of do have a go-by, but this presentation, just so everybody knows, is over the course of the last few council meetings, different questions have come up. So this presentation hopefully answers. I had like 3 pages of questions. Some of the ones I heard in the audience today are new, but the presentation covers the 3 pages of questions that we did have. I'm lucky from Flock to have Lily with us today, and obviously Chief Shorts. Lily's going to be very instrumental if there's any specific data-related questions that what Flock does with the data, she can help out with that. And that's the wrong button. So here's an update. We want to start with where we're at, where we are, and where we're going. So here's where we're at. In late 2023, early 2024, we had 23 Flock LPR cameras installed in Simi Valley, primarily covering the ingress points into the city. So my day job is property crime sergeant. So when we were doing this, we talked to a lot of the different administration, the different investigative units and patrol officers and patrol alike. And we were looking to combat crime and specific suspects that were coming into Simi Valley to commit crime. So we focused on the ingress points, whereas if someone's coming from out of town into town to commit crime, we would have a fighting chance to get some type of investigative leads. So we started with 23 approved council cameras. In late 2024, 6 additional Flock LPR cameras were obtained through the Ventura County Sheriff's Department organized retail theft grant. The Sheriff's Department maintains these 6 cameras. We have access to them, they maintain them. These are primarily, as you see, organized retail theft. These are around those type of shopping centers that can kind of help combat that problem. I did see a question come up about us having 26 cameras. The answer to that is those 3 Falcon Flex cameras add to ours. That's our 26. So we have control of those Falcon Flex cameras. Falcon Flex cameras mean absolutely nothing to anybody here, so let me explain. So what those are hotspot type cameras, whereas if we're having problems in a certain area, we can rapidly deploy those cameras to assist. For instance, we've used that at the north end of Yosemite and the Texas track when we were having some residential burglary problems. So they were kind of force multipliers for us, and they call them flex because we can put them up whenever we need to in different hotspots. So that's the 26 cameras that we do have that the city of Simi Valley controls. The other 6, we don't actually control that. That's the Sheriff's Department, but we do have access to that. And it should be of note, we've been using Vigilant LPR data since 2015, so this isn't new technology. In 2015, we actually had the LPR Vigilant systems on top of patrol cars, so it was capturing plates as it was driving around town. We don't have those anymore, but we still do have Vigilant accounts, and oftentimes, like tow truck drivers, repo drivers, have these systems where they're capturing plates too, and investigatively, we can use some of this data to help us in our cases. So it's not new technology. The 23 in-the-ground cameras is new technology as of 2023. So additionally, there was a question about HOAs and private companies installing Flock LPR cameras. Some do. And if they're willing to share, we can have access to that. Currently, there's a lot of HOAs in Simi Valley. Only one HOA is sharing with us. I wish there were more because it just helps us investigatively. But we have one HOA sharing with us. We also have Home Depot. They have their own cameras. They share with us, so we get data from their cameras. Lowe's is another company that shares with us. They have their own cameras. Anything you see at Home Depot and Lowe's, we did not install. Those are their cameras. So what our Flock LPR captures, this is very important. It's pictures only. Kind of think of like a trail cam. It's taking still shot photos. They do have other cameras that you can buy that have video as well. We didn't buy those. Those cost more, and you have to obviously a lot for more. We didn't ask for those. We didn't buy those. Ours are taking pictures only. There's no sound, no video, and there's no facial rec. And here's a couple pictures of what it looks like. Probably going to eat lunch or to a donut shop right there. And there's our beautiful Bearcat. So on occasion, these are primarily designed to capture the rear plate. Sometimes the camera, they cover 2.5 lanes, usually is what they say. Sometimes they'll catch the front plate on another side of traffic. I've yet to see anything that we don't have facial rec technology that we use in our department, but I've never seen anything that would work that would even be able to do that. But it's primarily to capture a rear plate of these vehicles that they pass by these by taking photos. So there was another question about how was police work done before this? So here we go, from limited leads to data-driven investigations. I'm jealous that when I was a detective during my time, I did not have this technology because I would have loved it. There was a time that we had call boxes. There was a time that we didn't have MDTs. There was a time that we didn't have this beautiful drone program. Thank you very much for that. There was a time that we didn't have DNA cases that we're solving out. So there was a time we didn't have this. So the key is making sure that this is congruent with the city and the police department's values, that if we roll it out with the proper efficacy, it can help us do our job better, is what we're looking to do. And to speak about the drones, because I help with the drone team as well, the drones actually had, using technology, so this does kind of fit this presentation, the drones had a great find yesterday, whereas there is a missing hiker, and they got a call at about 9:30 last night, deployed a drone, and they were able to see a heat signature at night and locate an elderly gentleman that had fallen down. Before that technology, would we have found him? Yes, eventually. But we were able to pinpoint, find, render aid, and help that subject out immediately. To me, LPR, and I only speak from my purview of what I've seen investigatively, it has helped us do our job, and it gives us a fighting chance to solve some of the crime that in the past we did not have. When I was a detective, if a robbery was committed by a purple car, you hoped to find a purple car, and that was the right purple car. Now we have the potential of capturing a plate for people coming into town and working that backwards. Sometimes they're stolen plates, sometimes they're cold plated. We have to work around that, and there's other things that we can do. But it gives us a chance to solve some of the cases that beforehand just went inactive and we never solved them. So speaking of that, here's a couple of our case studies, hopefully. So recently, the Wood Ranch homicide that we had, Flock LPR data helped us quickly identify the suspect, where the suspect was going. We actually had a surveillance team en route to intercept the suspect before that ultimately ended. And I think about homicide cases that I worked prior to this and how it really would have helped us, even the Castillo case a couple years back, it really would have helped us solve that case even quicker. Even though I feel like we handled it pretty quickly, this data would have really pinpointed that immediately. The five-star jewelry Berg crew, this was another Flock case. We were able to find surveillance of these suspects at Dr. Conkey's prior to. When they committed the actual crime, there wasn't any LPR data. We weren't able to trace back to anything. The fact that we were able to canvass and find surveillance video of them in there scouting the wall that they eventually broke in through, we were able to find a vehicle and use Flock data to track these people down. Not really a newer crime, but something that we're seeing kind of sporadically here in Simi Valley is what they call jugging. And it's basically crews, and from what I've seen, oftentimes out-of-state crews are coming and they're sitting outside ATMs and banks, and they're waiting for people to make large withdrawals. Sometimes these people will go to sporting events or kids' practices or grocery shopping afterwards. They get their car broken into and they lose a large sum of money. This is a case that we had recently, well, not recently, but in '24, but it goes to show another flock success of a jugging case where these people were sitting outside a bank waiting for someone to take money, broke into their car and stole a large amount of money. Financial scams and elder abuse. This is near and dear to my heart. I hate that this happens, and we're doing everything we can to combat this as well. Oftentimes, victims of scams fall for these scams so hard that not only do they sometimes use crypto, Bitcoin, send money, Apple cards, you name it, but sometimes couriers will actually come to their house and they'll pick up boxes of money. So these are just a couple of the cases that we've used Flock LPR camera data to help us solve and arrest couriers. A couple residential burglaries that without the Flock data, they just would have been inactive. We wouldn't have solved them. These are ones that we actually made arrests behind. Numerous, like instantaneous, the minute we turned on the cameras, recovering stolen vehicles, arresting people in stolen vehicles. This was just maybe a couple weeks ago. This was a wanted felon, armed and dangerous, out of Montebello. In their entry on their cameras into our town, we got the hit on our camera that, hey, this is a wanted fugitive from Montebello. We were able to make that arrest, and Montebello came and picked up their person they were looking for. So it's not only internal, sometimes it can be external too when other people are looking for wanted suspects. So one of the questions was, who has access? It's limited to officers and dispatchers, and it does have a multi-factor authenticator, like most, I think almost everything's kind of going to that, where you get the code and you have to enter the code in order to use it. I promise this is the hardest slide to read. I did check this last week. This one's a little small, but it's very important. I just want to show, and this is captured directly from our Flock interface, and I'll read it. It is federal sharing. We have that disabled. And then the bottom two are filter out immigration searches, enabled. Filter out reproductive care searches, enabled. So we're not doing that. In my time, and I'm one of the administrators for the Flock system, we have made 0 immigration arrests, 0 abortion enforcement. Those stats are 0. So our Flock audit, we went back 2.5 years. And in our 2.5-year audit, we had 0 out-of-state inquiries. The only thing that we had was the federal Loma Linda Healthcare System Veterans Affairs PD. And the reason being, as the text says below, they were miscoded. Flock had thought they were an actual PD when they weren't. So in our 2.5 years, that May 2025 was the 2 that we had. I personally contacted them and they're like, hey, we're a VA hospital. We're worried about patient services. They have nothing to do with any type of immigration issue or anything else. They're just solely working that hospital. And that issue has been resolved. Internal audit in the transparency portal. This is something that we want to stay on top of. We wanted to reinforce this, so we sent out reminders of what the expectations are, that you will have a case number, you will have a reason for the search. There's a legacy mode and a current mode, and they don't necessarily talk to each other well yet. So what we really want to do is tighten that, because sometimes when I do the internal audits, I see 100% adherence to either report number or a reason for the search. I then go to the transparency portal and I look at that. That looks different than what I'm looking at. So it's a question that I reached out to Flock, like, hey, this is causing us some problems. Why are there blanks here, but my screen is 100% full? And they said sometimes if you're using the legacy mode, which they might be able to toggle off, we're still working through that. But even though the blanks have gotten better, they're still there, and those bug me too, because we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure we're transparent and we're doing everything according to the demands of the city. So moving forward, what we're doing is we're doing internal and external audits weekly. I've never in my life had to do a pivot table on Excel ever, and I pray that upon nobody. Interesting, so I had to learn how to do that, which is great, but that's what we're using to do these audits. So we're doing internal and external audits weekly. And this is really what it comes down to me is we want to protect the city of Simi Valley from people committing crime against our public. And like I said, there was a time we didn't have this, and these cases would just go inactive. They wouldn't be solved, and we would have to get some type of lucky break. This technology really gives us a fighting chance to work stuff backwards and potentially arrest people behind some of these crimes. And at that point, I'd like to open up to any questions that the three of us can collectively help out with.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Mayor Pro Tem Litster.
Thank you. I've just been taking notes as you've been doing this presentation. I appreciate it. And so I'm just going to work backwards with a couple of questions I had. You just spoke about internal versus external audits. Can you clarify what you mean by that?
Absolutely. Internal audits are any searches that the city of Simi Valley, the PD, dispatchers or officers, what we're running, plates we're running,
Okay.
Any vehicle we're running, that's our internal audit, what our users are doing. External is people that have access to our cameras. So like I talked about earlier, oftentimes these cases, we don't just get the 23, 26 cameras that we have in Simi Valley. We're part of a network within California where we can see where our criminals, even if they hit here and committed a crime, we could see, oh, now they're in the Bay Area. Oh, now they're over here in LA. Oh, they're in Riverside. So we get data from other agencies. The external audit is making sure that nobody out of state and no federal agencies are accessing our data. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that does. I want to be sure what external. Very good. Explain legacy mode versus current mode. Does that have to deal with we need it now, or we sure could have used it a year ago? I mean, what does that mean?
It means they updated their interface. So it's just a new interface and a new way to search. So they're constantly working on upgrading their interface. The legacy mode is the old search. We now have a new search. So in my email correspondence with Flock, which it wasn't Lily, so don't blame her. In my correspondence with them, they said it could be an issue with people still using the legacy mode. So I'm trying to figure out if there's a way we can turn that off where we're capturing all the data.
Got it. So all the office, let me understand a little bit better. The users, when you talk about using the current mode, that is, we're talking about the different officers, or they need to be sure that their internal system is updated to be in the current mode. How would someone still be using the legacy mode? Don't we upgrade it for the entire system?
Because people are creatures of habit, and if they get used to one system, they want to use that forever. So they can toggle back to that system versus the new interface, which might be a little more uncomfortable for them.
Got it. I can relate. Okay.
Yes.
Creature of habit. Okay. You're talking about Flock LPP, that they basically, there's no sound, no video, no facial recognition. Does that mean that you don't ever look at it for, I mean, you're looking at license plates primarily, I get all that. Do you ever look at it to try to see who's driving the vehicle? Is it used in that way?
I've never seen a case solved by a picture from a Flock LPR camera, whereas we've seen, I back up a little bit. I've seen an arm with a tattoo that matched the suspect we were looking for in a car that was of interest to us, but I couldn't see the face, but the tattoos matched. We've had some close calls, but nothing whereas I see myself or Lily driving a car and like, that's Lily.
Got it. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. One last question. Thank you. We're working backwards. You were talking about the number of cameras that we have, et cetera. You mentioned that there are 6 cameras that the sheriff department maintains. Where do we know? Well, maybe I shouldn't ask where they're placed, how they're used, how we interact with those cameras, or don't.
Yeah. So those 6 that were obtained via the ORT, the Organized Retail Theft Grant,
Right.
are near, like, you'll see multiple cameras around the Target off of Sycamore. Those aren't our cameras. The ones primarily on ingress points, like off the freeway, those are ours. The ones, like, there might be one off Racine. That would be a sheriff's department type camera.
Got it. Okay. That's helpful. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you for the presentation. It was familiar to me. And the reason it's familiar to me is that he kept referencing questions. And a couple of community members wanted to meet with me on this, and we spent 3 hours together and came up with lots of questions that turned into 3 pages of questions. So when he said I saw 3 pages of questions, so I want to really acknowledge that and appreciate that for this specific presentation, it really did address what the community members who had met with me said, I would like to know the answers to these questions. And I want to just highlight a couple of them that I know they were concerned about that you answered tonight. The first was the discrepancy in the number of cameras, because in some community members' minds, it's a why is there a discrepancy? There might be something else going on, and he made it very clear, which I think is important. The other is the reason the no sound, no video was important is that other cities, not Simi Valley, and even other states, use cameras that can detect sound or video. And the concern was, is that something that's done here? And I'm glad, and we were able to clarify that that's not something that Simi Valley does. The multi-factor authentication prevents people who don't have the authority to get in, to get in. And I want to just ask a couple of other questions. Is on the screen that talked about the disabling of certain features, who can turn those back on?
Administrators of the account. There's 3 of them right now.
And there's just 3 internally for
Correct.
So that, and I thought that was the answer, but I want to make it clear that it means that a normal user of the system is not able to go on and just toggle the switches on. And so that's an important clarification too. And I think that I'm correct in saying that you didn't mention, but there's also no way for the system is built that in California, other agencies outside of the state can even access our system, right? There's no way to even turn that on. Is that correct?
That is correct. There is no way, and Lily just reminded me, there's 0 way to switch that over to have anybody out of state to get access to.
Correct. And so I just wanted to make that clear too. It's not an option that anyone here can actually even turn on. The FLOC knows that in California, you're not allowed to have other agencies view the data, so they don't even allow that option to be built. Is that correct, Lily, right?
Yes, that's correct. We created a digital guardrail, so even, say, Detective Sergeant suddenly one day decided wanted to share with Nevada, he actually could not.
Would not even physically be able to do it, right?
Yeah, I would not want to be here after that happened,
Yeah.
so I'm glad I can.
And the other thing is we resolved the reason field as well and that small discrepancy, but also even one of our speakers acknowledged, thank you for knowing, that there's been a big improvement in the officers following through with the process of getting that information in. So I just want to, that was my thing, but thank you for really taking the community members' questions that were provided and creating it based upon that. I think that was really great. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Any other questions? Well, thank you for a great presentation, Sergeant. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 4, public statements. Since there are no public hearings under agenda item 5, agenda items 4 and 6 are combined, and the City Council will hear all public statements under this agenda item 4. Agenda items 4 and 6 are the times allotted for public statements on all items other than public hearings, appointments, and informational reports. In accordance with the protocols that were adopted on October 6, 2025, if 20 or more speaker cards are received, each speaker's time will automatically be reduced to 2 minutes each. We have received 23 speaker cards. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to speak. Persons addressing the City Council are requested to state the name and community residence for the record. Madam Mayor, unless you have any comments, we can begin public statements.
Please proceed.
Thank you. I will call 3 names at a time so you know who you follow. Ben Davis, Bevan Abbey, and Langley Abbey.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and city staff. My name is Ben Davis, president of Piccola Tiny Homes here in Simi Valley. Thank you again for your time tonight. For the past 8 weeks, I have come before you to speak about movable tiny homes as ADUs. I'm here again because I believe this issue is important to the people of Simi Valley. At my last appearance, I gave each of you a packet of information to help make this conversation easier. It included a sample ordinance, an application checklist, and examples from other California cities and counties. Essentially, everything that is needed to adopt a well-thought-out ordinance that makes sense. My goal is simple, to show that this is not just an idea, but a practical path forward that has already been studied and used elsewhere. At the heart of this issue are families. It is the young adult who wants to stay close to home but cannot afford to move out. It is the aging parent or grandparent who wants dignity, independence, and a chance to remain close to loved ones. It is the homeowner looking for a realistic way to create housing for family or bring a little more stability in an expensive time. Right now, too many of the available options are simply out of reach. Traditional housing is expensive. Foundation-built ADUs are costly and time-consuming. Meanwhile, the need continues to grow. Movable tiny homes offer a thoughtful, flexible, and practical response. They can be regulated, reviewed, and designed to respect neighborhood character while still creating another housing option for our residents. So tonight, I respectfully ask once again that this issue be brought forward as a public agenda item. Not because every question has already been answered, but because this issue deserves an open and thoughtful public conversation. A conversation about housing, families, and how Simi Valley can lead with both wisdom and compassion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and esteemed members of the City Council. My name is Bevan Abbey, and I've been serving the community of Simi Valley as a teacher for over 22 years. My husband and I have also been running and building short-term rentals for over 11 years. Just today, we received our 34th consecutive Superhost honor. My family's life has been greatly improved by hosting others through short-term rentals. Through hosting, we have developed great relationships and been able to provide jobs for others. It has also provided us with the ability to teach our children about business, hospitality, and kindness and consideration for others. We pride ourselves on working very hard and giving everyone the best experience that we can, from the guests, the neighbors, the cleaners, the handyman, the hosting platforms, and the city itself. Each time a guest stays, we provide them with recommendations for local restaurants, sites, hikes, and experiences. For many visitors to Simi Valley, we are sharing with them our favorite spots on their first visit to the area. One of the arguments against STRs is the fact that business is taking place in residential zones. I know many people locally who offer, from their homes, music lessons, baked goods, hairstyling, swim lessons, and more. I know many more people who work from home. The world has changed, and the home is now a place of a business globally. I want to add my agreement to the statement that anyone hosting STRs without proper permits or not following basic ordinances should be put to a stop. With everything Simi has to offer, as well as the World Cup and the Olympics on the horizon, STRs are a wonderful way to bring commerce and guests to the beautiful city of Simi Valley. I also support movable tiny homes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Langley Abbey and I support short-term rentals. I like short-term rentals because they let people come and stay at our house while they travel. It helps them have fun vacations and gives our family extra money that we can use for other things. When I travel with my family, I think short-term rentals are the best because they feel cozy and easy to stay in, like a home away from home. Hosting is really fun too. We make people happy by letting them stay here, and it makes me feel good knowing we're helping them enjoy their trip. My favorite part of hosting is delivering fresh baked cookies to our guests. I make chocolate chip cookies and sometimes other kinds and bring them to them when they arrive. The guests always say the cookies are great. They're warm, chocolatey, super chewy, and they melt in your mouth. We sell little bags of 5 cookies for $10, and they're really tasty. It's also a fun way to get to know our guests a little bit and see what kind of people they are. Having people stay at our house is nice because it lets visitors see all of the beautiful places in the area. It feels good to share our home and make their trip special. Thank you. Gracias por su tiempo y por su apoyo.
Thank you.
The next 3 speakers, Matthew Abbey, James McGillis, and Vanessa Ballum.
Hello, City Council. My name is Matthew Abbey. I'm here to support short-term rentals.
As mentioned before, I've hosted over 20,000 nights as I run short-term rentals for a number of homeowners in the area for the past 11 years. I'd like to point out that 20,000 nights is the equivalent of hosting a single home every night for 54 years. In that time, we've only had one issue on one night stay, and that issue was handled in less than an hour. To say that short-term rentals in general are an issue would not be true. We're more than demonstrated that short-term rentals pose no major issues. Again, the equivalent of hosting every night for 54 years with only one issue on one night to speak of. This past week, I had a Simi Valley homeowner who I helped run their home for, said their brothers needed immediate assistance and wanted to have him move into the home for 3 months with his kids temporarily. Because the home is already furnished and running as a short-term rental, the transition would be seamless. If the home were a long-term rental, there would be no flexibility to do this in her family's time of need. As a homeowner, I would certainly appreciate paying $1,000 a year for a permit to the city to have peace of mind that all that I've invested in will remain. I know myself, my family are cleaners, tradesmen, handymen, hot tub techs, inspectors, gardeners. Everyone involved would appreciate knowing that their livelihoods would continue. Lastly, as a high school teacher in Simi Valley for the Simi Valley Unified School District for 23 years, teaching design and entrepreneurship, I never once sent a student to the principal's office. If there ever was an issue, I would take a student outside, we sit on the bench, talk it out. If neighbors need to have a chat, they should. Or if the city needs to call someone on something, then they should do that. But I never would punish everyone in the class for a rogue individual's issues. Please don't punish those of us who are doing good, who are good neighbors and do things the right way, as we want to continue to serve the community. Keep our homes in show quality condition at all times and provide for our families, our guest families, and the greater community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the City Council and staff, I'm James McGillis, a 19-year resident of Simi Valley. In August 2025, the City Council directed staff to prepare municipal code changes intended to legalize and regulate short-term rentals. In late 2025, 430 residents of Simi Valley signed petitions to ban STRs. In early 2026, all 4 neighborhood councils rejected the municipal code changes, with 3 voting for an outright ban. In March 2026, the Planning Commission unanimously voted to reject the code changes, requesting that the City Council direct staff to prepare an ordinance to ban STRs. On March 9th, 2026, Councilmember Rhodes claimed that 3 to 10 loud people have created a false narrative regarding a ban on STRs. In defiance of the city petitions, the neighborhood councils, and the Planning Commissions, Mr. Rhodes then suggested that the city conduct an independent survey, for which he had prepared proposed questions. With a second by Councilmember Judge and a nod from the city manager, she consented to use her discretionary budget, spending up to, believe it or not, $100,000 on the survey. On March 23rd, 2026, from the dais, Mayor Kavanaugh declared, and I quote, "On March 9th, the council directed staff to move forward with a professionally conducted survey. According to our city manager and to our city attorney, there was no closed session to discuss the survey. There was no vote, and therefore the secretive independent survey is purely the product of 2 council members and our city manager." Did the city manager incorporate Mr. Rhodes' suggested questions into the survey? What independent contractor will conduct the survey, and who will be surveyed and how? Who will interpret and present the survey results? Should the public trust that survey? Will they reflect the actual community sentiment? Past meetings, one council member has derided me twice by name and twice by inference. Once he chuckled and twisted my words to meet his STR narrative. Later he accused me of, quote, creating a false narrative, and most recently said that, maybe we didn't want to hear that voice. Your voices be heard. By disparaging me and others from the dais, that council member is in violation of city code of ethics. In the future, he should refrain from calling out anybody and instead should commend us for exercising our First Amendment rights.
Thank you, Mr. McGillis.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I am an owner of a short-term rental. I have been a resident of Simi Valley and a homeowner for the past 18 years. I'm here to share a little bit. I know I don't want to sound redundant, but I do want to share that that I've been here listening to the concerns that have been brought upon you. We run a tight ship. This community, which I've gotten to know a few of the other owners, we care about this community. We live in this community. We're raising our families in this community. And by no means do we want that to change. And every single one of us always makes sure that every rule is followed. We're present. We make ourselves available. And until now, I don't have a single mark in 3.5 years of any guest. My neighbors support our STR. We're very considerate. We make sure we assign parking spaces so that they don't have to deal with anything like that. I have heard that said here as well. And more than that, I've also was a little thrown off by the implications that we are sitting here becoming millionaires. We're not rich. We're sitting here paying our bills, putting our kids through college, just like all of our other community members. So I welcome all of you to please visit these sites, these SDR sites, see what our guests are saying. They are low-key guests that are coming here to visit family that have had to move away, elderly guests. My most recent 2 guests were an elderly couple that needed to be close to home to recuperate. That is what we are doing.
Your time is up. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers, Ivana Chrisman, Dina Chovanec, and Steve Thompson.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Ivana Chrisman, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the Rotary Club of Simi Valley. It's actually, I want to say before I start talking about my event, I want to say that it's very inspiring to see all of these great volunteers, and that is what makes Simi Valley so great. I know I'm running out of time, so I'm going to talk real fast. I'd like to share a quick opportunity for our community to come together in support of a group of professionals who are absolutely essential to public safety, yet often unseen, our 911 dispatchers. On April 16th, my Rotary Club is hosting the Ventura County Dispatcher of the Year Appreciation Award at the Stratton Historical Park. This event is dedicated to recognizing the voices behind the scenes, the individuals who answer the calls, who bring calm to chaos, and who would support both our residents and our sworn officers every single day. What makes this event special is that this is not just a one-time thing that we're trying to do. Rotary is actually working really hard to create a sustainable, repeatable model so that dispatchers across Ventura County are honored year after year without placing the burden solely on the agency. All proceeds from this event go directly to the Simi Valley Police Foundation Communication Center to support their operational needs. This is not a ticketed event. It's not ticketed for general public, so it's a hard sale. But I'm here tonight with a simple ask. If you're able, we would greatly appreciate your support, whether through sponsorship, helping us spread the word, or connecting us with others who may want to contribute. Every contribution directly supports those who serve. So I'm running out of time, so I'm going to wrap it up. If I have some flyers, and if you visit simivalley.rotary.org, please do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Dina Chovanec, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight in supporting allowing STRs to continue to operate in Simi Valley. STRs provide real tangible benefits to our community. They bring new revenue to the city, support local businesses and restaurants, and contribute to the local economy in ways that extend beyond the property themselves. These guests shop and dine locally. They help sustain small businesses and make Simi Valley such a great place to live. In addition, these properties are maintained at a very high standard, frequently more so than long-term rentals. Owners have a strong incentive to keep their homes in pristine condition, which helps preserve and in many cases increase property values in their neighborhoods. Equally important, STRs operate under strict house rules. They include parking restrictions, no parties, and a clear defined quiet hours. These rules are actively enforced and help ensure that these homes maintain the family-oriented character of our community. I also would like to address a concern raised at the last council meeting that STRs bring riffraff into our city. Respectfully, that characterization does not reflect how these properties actually operate. STR's guests are first screened through the platforms and management companies facilitating the bookings. The second screening is through the homeowners. This process is specifically designed to prevent problematic renters and to ensure guests align with the expectations of quiet and respectful neighborhoods. In many ways, STRs are held to a higher standard than traditional long-term rentals, with more oversight and accountability built into the process. Thank you again for your time and consideration. I respectfully ask that you allow STRs to continue to maintain operating in as they bring meaningful value to Simi Valley while maintaining the integrity of our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Steve Thompson. I have a STR here in Simi Valley for 5 years. I have a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom home with an attached 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. While the house could comfortably sleep 12 people, I have always limited the total number of guests to 10. Also, I do not allow more than 10 people on my property at any time. That means no parties, no events, and no large gatherings. I strictly control parking, limit the number of cars, and clearly define where they can park so there's no impact on my neighbors. I have a zero tolerance policy for smoking of any kind on the property with strict noise levels and curfews. As a host who lives on site, I strictly enforce all of these rules, and they are clearly stated in my listing. At the last meeting, I shared that a ban on STRs could put me in a position where I might lose my home. Well, that remains a serious concern. I realized another option is available to me. I could rent out all 5 rooms in my home long-term. That would be 5 to 7 separate tenants and as many as 5 to 7 cars on a full-time basis. The important point is this: that type of use would surely come with no oversight and little to no restrictions. That would not be my first choice, but I have to do what is necessary to keep my home. You mentioned conducting a survey in Simi Valley residents. I think the real question is this: would residents prefer STR properties like mine with limited occupancy of 35 to 40% of the time, strict rules, and controlled parking, or would they prefer a scenario with numerous full-time tenants, far more vehicles, and little to no restrictions every single day? A reasonable compromise could be that STRs are only approved on properties with hosts living on site. I respectfully ask that you consider a balanced, regulated approach.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up.
Thank you.
The next 3 speakers, Sarah Wilczewski, Anthony Eason, and Alin Eason.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, City Council. My name is, once again, Sarah Wilczewski. I was here 2 weeks ago, and Councilmember Ayala, Mayor Pro Tem Lister, Mayor Kavanaugh, you all mentioned that you heard me. You heard what we had to say about about ICE and the terror that they are inflicting on our community. Take those words and turn them into action. We have been here many times giving you actions that you can take that could help our immigrant neighbors, including allocating funding to Food Share, 805 and DocuFund, Ventura County Neighbors Foundation. So many resources that could help our neighbors, including creating policies to protect city staff and anyone who is on city property or who are attending schools. We have had an incident where students were picked up trying to attend school. There's so much you can do. So, you heard me? Great. Now take that and turn that into action. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Anthony Eason, resident of Simi Valley. A public records request shows questionable behavior of a public official took place at the December 15th, 2025 City Council meeting. A council member communicated by email during the meeting with a member of the audience who was to speak at item 4 on the agenda. This council member specifically told the speaker what not to say in his proposed speech to this council. I think it's improper for a council members to coach speakers from the dais as to what to say or not say during the meeting to promote their own personal agendas. It shows a serious lack of judgment as well as disrespect for the intent of impartiality during these proceedings. At the same meeting, the council member decided to further disparage opponents of their position on STRs, calling them detractors. Then on March 9th, this person accused members of the public of being loud and insinuated they are liars. At the last meeting, this person commented on the fact that some people in the audience left. He then stated a derogatory assumption as to why that was to further insult members of the public. With television and YouTube, people don't need to be here to see what is taking place at the meeting. They can actually pause, stop, rewind, and play back the insulting nonsense coming out of your mouth from the comfort of their own living rooms. This person's continued personal attacks and derogatory inferences violate the conduct of members stated in your code of conduct, ethics, and conduct. If this council is not willing to abide by, as well as enforce their own code of ethics and conduct, you might as well just tear it up. Your lack of action on this person's continued unprofessional and inappropriate behavior speaks for itself.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alen Eason. I'm a resident of Simi Valley. Although this city council is meant to represent the entire community, it is nothing short of amazing how the whims of one council member seem to dictate everything this council discusses or decides. What is even more amazing is that this council has never seriously considered the negative effects of regulating short-term rentals. Although most research indicates STRs lead to decreasing property values, concerns about crime, worries that the neighborhoods will not provide community stability and unity, this council seems intent on ignoring all of that. Is a few $1,000s in added revenue from STR regulation going to offset the long-term hundreds of thousands of dollars in declining property taxes? No one in Simi, except those sitting in front of me, seem impressed by code enforcement as is. How many more code enforcement officers will be hired to ensure regulations are followed? How much overtime will the police be paid for the complaints on the weekends? Not only does the leader of the pro-STR faction on the council not care about public opinion, they appear wasteful and irresponsible with our tax dollars. Anyone driving on Simi's bumpy roads knows our tax dollars are not being spent on keeping Simi in the best shape. All the hidden expenses and falling tax revenue of STR regulation will just make it worse. Not only is the pro-STR faction of this council fiscally irresponsible, they are selling out this city's future. I would urge this entire council to actually think through the STR issue. Please know your voters are watching, and if you do not provide the change they want, November is closer than you think. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next three speakers, Carla, Jamie Sanchez, and Elise Nguyen and Nancy Mason. Elsie.
Here we are again. 37 people have been snatched off the streets of Simi Valley. This includes 2 elementary school-aged children. Despite how the superintendent, Hani Yosef, would like to twist the truth, children were kidnapped along with their mother on their way to school. Imagine 2 young kids with their backpacks holding their mother's hand. They woke up most likely excited to go to Bearwood Elementary School, but instead were met with aggression, fear, and uncertainty of what will happen to them next. Will they be separated from their mom? Will they see their dad again? Will they sleep in the only bed they know to be theirs ever again? If that doesn't move you, you are not human. You care more about your comfort and your status than speaking up for children, families, hard workers, and fellow neighbors. What we demand is safety, leadership, and most of all, commitment that you will serve all of those who live in this city. How many people must disappear? How many people must die at the hands of these domestic terrorists? How many children have to be kidnapped on your watch? We are tired of being here, at least I know I am, but our spirit and the love of our community is stronger than any of them and any of you. We will continue to be here. We continue to patrol our neighborhoods. We'll continue to show up for each other. And lastly, I just want to mention something that was brought up last council meeting. Shame on you all who entertained the idea of adding Christian religious jargon to our government buildings and processes, especially you, Rocky. We have been coming here for a year, and you have not acknowledged our efforts or our passion to keep you informed regarding this disappearing from our streets. But the first chance you get, you acknowledge religion being involved in our government. Shame on you. I know you guys have been out of school for a while, but there's something called separation of church and state.
Thank you.
Before I begin, I want to acknowledge that we are gathered on traditional lands of the Chumash people. I honor their enduring connection for this land and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. Good evening, my name is Jamie Sanchez, and I come before you today with a few concerns and hopefully a few answers to my questions. First, the decision to shorten public comment time, cutting a full minute may seem small, but for those of us who have to mentally prepare to stand here, it's significant. Public comment is not a formality, it is a right. So I ask you directly, what is the alternative that still respects the voices of your community? Second, I have personally witnessed 2 separate mental health crises recently. In the most recent case, I waited 30 minutes for SVPD after identifying someone as showing a danger to themselves and/or others. That delay matters. So what is the city's actual protocol for crisis intervention, and why is it not reaching people faster? Those 30 minutes count. Or is this a choice by officers to respond to whenever convenient? Shout out to McAllister for that one. Third, regarding social media coverage involving high school students, this should, my opinion, show it's time to realize that these children have voices and their voices matter. I had more to prepare, but like many in this room, I plan for being cut short. So I'll leave you with this. Please think beyond budgets and policies. Think about people, all people, housed or unhoused, regardless of politics, religion, or background. Every person in this city deserves dignity and respect. As a veteran, I've been taught to conform even when it didn't feel right. It's not easy to stand here and speak, but I do it because my voice matters, even to one person. And sometimes it's necessary to call things out because silence is no longer an option. If calling things out makes people uncomfortable, then maybe that discomfort is necessary. On that note, I'll leave you with, Ice out of Simi Valley. We do not need any more kidnapped children. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and City Council members. My name is Nancy Mason.
And I'm Elsie Nguyen, and a resident of Simi Valley for 26 years. Nancy, are we at the wrong place?
No, we're just early for the Samaritan Center Second Chance Prom. It's May 14th at the Vineyard.
Hey, you know, I love a good party and any chance to dance, but what does a prom have to do with their mission of helping the needy in Simi Valley?
Well, Elsie, as the people in this room, full of wonderful volunteers and city dignitaries, know, even though nonprofits like the Samaritan Center have volunteers, receive donations, they still need to pay the bills for the lights, the showers, the hardworking caseworkers. All these things are needed to keep everything running.
So hosting a prom would help with all that?
Yes, it's an opportunity for the community to come together and have a second chance at reliving their prom days, but also to raise money and help the Samaritan Center keep giving others a second chance at life.
That makes sense to me. So if it makes sense to you and you support our cause, I invite every and each one of you to the Samaritan Center's Second Chance Prom on May 14th.
And we would love to thank you for the continued support that you have given to the Samaritan Center.
Thank you.
The next three speakers, Rosario Zepeda, Deb Dickerson, and Tariq Rizkallah.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Yesenia Rechiga, and I'm speaking on behalf of my mother, Rosario Cepeda. My family has lived in Simi Valley for over 22 years, and my parents were able to raise a family off of a house cleaner salary. My parents have worked for a man who operates an Airbnb home for about over 40 years. And over the years, they have used the money from cleaning homes like these to pay for our livelihood and college educations. Without this help from Airbnb hosts, my family would find themselves struggling to make ends meet. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and council members. My name is Deb Dickerson, 23-year resident of Simi Valley. I wanted to come here tonight just to introduce myself. As many of you probably have heard, I'm running for City Council, District 4. I threw my name in the hat and pulled my papers, and we're ready to go on that. I wanted to let you know that I'm not a politician. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a retired police officer. I retired from LAPD 9 years ago after 28 years. My husband retired just recently after 33 years on the Los Angeles Police Department. We have 3 teenagers, all in Simi Unified. What makes me different, I think, as a candidate is that I'm not endorsed by the Republican Party. I'm not endorsed by the Democratic Party. So that gives me a lot of freedom. I have the freedom to support all of the people and the ideas of this city, of this community, and I'm able to not have to abide by very strict Republican issues, Democratic issues, because all of the issues are really the same. They're all community issues. It's just how you resolve them and how you solve them. So I'm super happy about being here. I'm happy to be in the race. I look forward to running a clean race, a positive race, one with no drama, that's extremely respectful and mature. And I wish everybody all the best in November, and I look forward to meeting all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tariq Rizkallah. I am a board member at the Oaks in Wood Ranch. I've been a board member for 13 years, and don't ask me why I keep doing it, but I do it. I love my community, and I love Simi Valley. I've been here for 36 years. I came here just to put some comments onto the minutes of this meeting for future record. You gave an easement to a company called Sci-Fi in the city of Simi Valley to trench the city and then eventually lay fiber optic cable. I have been dealing with this company since 2023. We signed our agreement with them in 2024. I walked the site plan with them shortly after that. We discussed what changes needed to be made. Yes, we are a private HOA, okay? We maintain our own streets, which means less expense for the city. But the easement that was given to this company means it's one company. Everything is connected, okay? And we have not been trenched since. Everybody has been very respectful. I've been speaking to the Deputy Director of Public Works. He's been very helpful, but all we keep getting is, we'll get to you. You'll hear from us. And it's been since January of 2024 that we signed this agreement, and all we get is, we'll get to you. I know that there have been issues with this company, that they pulled out for a while, and they're back, but I want this on the record now, so when we come back, and if they don't get back to us by the next milestone or deadline that they told us they would get back to, which is July, I'll be back here again, and I hope to get your support on this. Some leverage with this company. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir.
The next three speakers, Gary Hartman, Ashley, and Frank Tomlinson.
Hi, my name's Gary Hartman, 56-year resident, Mayor Cabanas, Council. Thanks for having me tonight. So I was looking at the Acorn this week, and I noticed short-term rentals. Rocky Roads had mentioned in the paper, Rocky Roads claimed that 3 to 10 loud people have created what he considers to be a false narrative regarding a ban on STRs. So I've been a short-term rental host for going on over 2 years now, and I have people come in from all over the world. They're wonderful people. They're great guests. They come here to visit their families, visit friends, a lot of weddings, funerals, things like that. So in my experience, I haven't had the problems that, these issues that everybody's talking about. I have 5-star ratings. I'm a super host. My house is kept super clean. I had a long-term rental. It was a disaster. So I prefer short-term rental over long-term rental. But the reason I came here is I wanted to put on the record on the Airbnb site is the community disturbance policy, and I can give you a copy of it if you want. You can look at their website. So Airbnb has on their website, community disturbance policy. We respect local communities and we expect the same of our host and guest. That is why we do not allow open invite parties, disruptive gatherings, or community disturbances during an Airbnb reservation. What is not allowed? We ask our entire Airbnb community to work together to help prevent community disturbances. This includes following our policy, which does not allow disruptive gatherings and other community disturbances, regardless of size. Signs of disruptive to the local community can include excessive noise, excessive trash, trespassing, smoking nuisances, parking nuisances, neighborhood vandalism, serious injuries, or reckless behavior. Open invite gatherings, for example, parties advertised publicly or on social media, advertising listings as party
Thank
friendly.
you, sir. I'm sorry your time is up.
Wow,
Goes fast.
that was. I'll have to come back in a couple weeks and finish it. Then.
All right,
But I
thank
can
you.
leave you a copy.
Thank you.
City Council, are we only considering or pushing agenda items that are easy and reflect well on your personal political beliefs or aspirations? Pardon me. We're here fighting to keep our community safe, fighting to educate and support employers and employees, friends, families, and neighbors, fighting to keep masked men with guns and those that would impersonate them out of our communities. We're fighting to keep kids in their schools, on their playgrounds with their friends, and with their families. Yet some members of this community and this council jump at the opportunity to avoid the existence of hate crimes and racial profiling and prioritize things that have no place here. You don't bat an eye at kidnapped children, but entertain adding city council prayer to the agenda? What of separation of church and state? And the audacity to preach words of God, say, love thy neighbor. Maybe cursed is anyone who withholds justice from the foreigner, the fatherless, or the widow. Do not oppress a foreigner. You yourselves know how it feels to be foreigners because you were foreigners in Egypt. And so many more. Then support terrorizing them, ripping them from their lives and loved ones, throwing them away like trash in camps where they're mistreated, beaten, raped, and killed. Shame. We've been pushing for almost a year to have a full in-depth presentation agendized, but got one small presentation and haphazard statements from our SVPD chief that sounded like it was intentionally written as vaguely as possible. We don't want officials that tiptoe around topics. We want clear answers. On that, Joseph Ayala, many thanks to you for pushing to get real answers to the community about Flock. We'll have many more, but this was a great start. I propose, as has been mentioned multiple times before, to have public comments about agenda items moved to the end of a presentation. Maybe we can get that on the agenda, let alone many of the other solutions we've presented to assist the community. Again, I'll read the numbers for 805 on DocuFund, 805-870-8855, VC Defensa,
Thank you. Your time is now up.
805-296-1119.
Good evening. My name is Frank Tomlinson. About 3+ years ago, my partners and I started Valor Home Finance. We opened, and to stand behind what we believed 3.5 years ago, we started an evening every quarter called Vets in Valor. We believe in supporting the veterans in our community. And so what we do is we have the Veteran Services Officer from Ventura County come up, and he gives a presentation, does a Q&A, and helps veterans that don't have 100% their service-rated disability rating. He helps them know how they can build that up or start it. So 3.5 years later, one of the things that we've run into, one of the difficulties, is finding veterans around the community. This community has, like every other community, about 73% of veterans are not rated above 0. That leaves about 3,500, give or take, veterans in our community that do not have the benefits that they deserve for their service. So I'm here just to request, the one idea that I did have was that the banner program that we currently have in our community, we retire those banners twice a year. I would request that we would be able to actually distribute those banners from our location up in the Simi Valley Town Center, because that way we would be able to connect with veterans that are recently separated from the armed services, and we'd be able to let them know how they can connect with the benefits that they deserve to get. We still are trying to figure out how to connect with all of the other veterans in our community. One way that we're doing that is we're bringing back the 13 Souls Run for the 5th anniversary this year. That will be one way to connect with the larger community as well. But please consider that, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
The last two speakers, Ruth Luevanos and Todd Taylor.
Good evening, council members. My name is Ruth Luevanos, former Simi Valley City Council member, and I am not going to try to appeal to your emotions, because 2 of you were here 8 years ago when my son was told by a xenophobic man that he was going to be the first Mexican on the buses when they deported all the Mexicans. And 2 of you here voted to join that lawsuit against SB 54 in the state of California, Mayor Kavanaugh and Councilmember Judge. So I'm not going to appeal to your emotions. I am here on behalf of the taxpayers, however. I am here to make sure that our taxpayer money is not spent on lawsuits, because Santa Cruz was the first to terminate his contract with Flock. And in addition to that, Santa Clara County also stopped using Flock safety cameras in several cities after privacy concerns. That's a lawsuit I'm trying to avoid the taxpayers, including myself, from having to pay, if that is not reason alone to get rid of the Flock cameras. I'll continue to defend the taxpayers in the city of Simi Valley and across Ventura County. In Ventura County, undocumented workforce pays over $800 million in federal, state, and local taxes. So if you don't want to defend undocumented immigrants emotionally, then you're going to defend them because they pay taxes, millions of dollars of taxes in Ventura County. In addition to that, in Simi Valley, over 44% of the students in Simi Valley Unified School District are Latino. 10% of them are Asian. That's more than half. Reminder that the top 3 employers in the city of Simi Valley are the schools, the hospital, and the city of Simi Valley. So if you're not going to protect students of color as they're going to school, if you're not going to protect workers, if you're not going to protect 1/3 of the business owners that are immigrants in the city of Simi Valley, then there will be no businesses, there will be no students, there will be no teachers' jobs, there will be no one going to the hospital, and there will be no jobs and no employment and no income. For those reasons alone, I can't appeal to your emotions, I'm going to appeal on behalf of the taxpayers.
Thank you. Your time
Thank
is
you.
up. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh, City Council members. My name is Todd Taylor. Been a resident of Simi Valley for about 16 years. 2 meetings ago, I was the only one actually speaking against a ban on short-term rentals. After that, I shared some information about this issue on social media, and many residents told me they had no idea a ban was even being considered. At the last meeting, around 20 people or so came forward, neighbors, homeowners, and workers, sharing positive experiences and explaining how short-term rentals support their income. Great to see the people out here this evening as well. In my own experience, hosting through Airbnb for 8 years and around 300 guests with a 5.0 star rating, we've never had a single issue that couldn't be resolved quickly. What we see are people visiting family, working temporary jobs, or simply spending time in our community. We also give out recommendations for local restaurants that my wife and I frequent often. This isn't a widespread problem that is being discussed, but a complete ban would create very real harm for homeowners, workers, and families who rely on this income. At a minimum, this deserves a thoughtful, balanced approach, not an outright ban. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, that was the last speaker. Next on the agenda is City Council comments regarding public statements.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak? Mayor Pro Tem Litster?
Thank you. Just to go down some of the topics, I can't address them all. Mr. Ben Davis, thank you for being here. Thank you for what you do with Piccolo Tiny Homes. And I know, in fact, I will tell you that I spoke with our city manager. I know some time ago we asked that there be some kind of a discussion agenda, et cetera. She is preparing, or staff are preparing a report that we should be receiving soon. I verified that. I checked that out. That's going to happen. Your information certainly is very helpful. I hope that is also incorporated in the report. But I just wanted to say thank you. You're being heard. So thank you. I was going to commend Langley Abbey. She's probably the youngest person here who's still has spoken about short-term rentals, but I know it's a difficult conversation all the way around. So anyway, want to commend everyone that came and was part of the conversation. Ivana Chrisman, we heard you, and what I got is that it's an exclusive party, but it's an important party, and you need donations. So thank you. That is to honor the Dispatchers of the Year awards. Appreciate that. I wanted to thank Nancy and Elsie for the Samaritan Center second-class prom. That'll be a great thing. I do have my ticket, but they certainly know how to promote it, so I think all of us should be in attendance to support the Samaritan Center. Boy, I want to talk about everything. Actually, let me just take it to, and thank you, Frank, for speaking about the veterans and Vets and Valor and how important that is. And yes, the 13 Souls of Kabul. I hope everyone gets online, signs up to run, walk, crawl, but be part of that to honor the efforts of those souls that were lost and to honor our veterans. I'd like to conclude by speaking to Sarah and Carla and Jamie and Ruth and, I'm sorry, I don't have all the names, but you specifically referenced 2 weeks ago, you referenced the concern about 2 children who had been supposedly abducted by ICE walking to Burlwood. And I was very concerned when I heard that. And so the day following that incident, you're speaking to us 2 weeks ago, I went to Burlwood Elementary and had a conversation with the principal because I wanted to understand her understanding of what transpired. Certainly she would know, I would think, if students had been were missing, et cetera, abducted, et cetera. And she made it very clear to me that that event did not happen as it was represented. They made it very clear to me. And so I quizzed her in different manners, and she made it very clear. And so, and I know that there's been a lot of conversation, but I guess what I would appreciate is understanding who witnessed, what where it's coming from, where that story, because I'd like to even find out more about it. But she made it very clear, as a principal of school who monitors students, et cetera, that did not occur. And because obviously we care about our students, our children, we want to keep the streets safe. And so, and certainly we care about all of our residents, period. And so anyway, I just want to say thank you for everyone who was here discussing a variety of topics and information, and we are hearing you, and we'll keep moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Judge.
Whether you think or you know about what I believe or what I do not believe, that's interesting. But I do want to say that the guy that came up, Mr. Thomason, that came up and spoke about Valor, I think that's a very valid program we should look into wholeheartedly. If we have a way to do that with our banners coming down to give to those veterans because, they served, and give them some opportunity to get informed of the benefits they may be not have, that's outstanding. So I'd like us really hard to look into that. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Rhodes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Great comments already. I want to just reiterate Boots and Broadcasts. Ivana, thank you for bringing that. I'm specifically thank you because I'm in the same Rotary Club, and this is a great event for us, and I think it will be a sustainable thing for the dispatchers of Ventura County. Samaritan Center crew, they left. They're off dancing. Okay.
Doug's here.
Yeah. So I am striving to get back that night in time to be able to attend the event, but either way, I'm going to be supporting because it's an amazing organization and what a creative way to do a fundraiser. And then I was also going to comment on the banners, that would be a good thing to bring forward. And then lastly, if diligently doing my job to find out all voices in the community is a problem for some, I don't apologize because that's what I'm going to do.
Councilmember Ayala.
Thanks. Real quick. So I already got my tickets for both of those events that people had presented, but you probably would expect me to be there anyway. And then for the group that came up, I hear what you're saying, but I really do hear what you're saying. Okay, and I can leave it at that. And so thanks everyone for coming to share, and for Ben, it's great. We're going to get an update sometime soon. We haven't forgotten about you. Just know that something's going to be coming up. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out this evening. Everyone has the right to say what they want to say and take their 2 minutes. Sorry, we shortened it to 2 minutes. If we have under 20, we leave it at the 3. But that has been our decision that we made recently, last year? I think sometime. It's on our protocols. But thank you all for coming out. Ben, I'm glad we're getting stuff done for you. We had a lot of candidates in the audience tonight. I kind of glanced around. So thank you all for coming and participating. And I also agree with the banners and the valors. My nephew's currently serving in the 82nd Infantry, so I know he would be appreciative of that, as well as Mike. He's a veteran. So thank you all for coming tonight, and hopefully everyone has a great evening. Thank you. We have more business, but you don't have to stay for it. Thank you.
I wanted to make sure you guys got a copy of this.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
3 of them, so you could make copies.
I'm sorry, sir. We're not open for public speaking right now. Thank you, though.
But you could also find it on the Airbnb website. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, we're ready to move on.
Thank you. Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 7, the consent calendar, and we have one resolution for your consideration this evening. Consent item 3, resolution number 2026-08, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley approving updated citywide publicly available pay schedules effective January 12, 2026, in accordance with California Code Regulations Title II, Section 570.5.
Any questions, concerns on the consent agenda? If
I'd be happy to
Mayor
move
Pro
the
Tem
consent.
Litster.
Oh.
Mayor Pro Tem Litster?
Actually, I was going to move consent, but I was going to comment item 3. I love the CalPERS example where city council members are paid almost the same as city manager. Did you catch that? And anyway, it was just cute. Anyway, no, I was going to move. Now you're going to have to go look at it. No, I was going to. You go ahead, Rocky. You go ahead and move it. But that's what I
I'll
was
move
going
consent.
to do. I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Please call for the vote.
Councilmember Ayala,
Yes.
Councilmember Rhodes,
Yes.
Councilmember Judge,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lister, Mayor Kavanaugh.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 9A. Consideration of a proposed memorandum of understanding with the Simi Valley Engineers Association, and Senior Human Resources Analyst Shannon Nash is here to present this item.
Good evening, Ms. Nash.
Good evening. Mayor Kavanaugh, City Council members. This is the first standalone labor agreement for the engineers group, which encompasses 20 active employees plus another 3 vacant positions. There are 8 job classifications within this unit, 3 of which are not actively used at this time: city engineer, deputy director traffic engineer, and deputy public works director maintenance services engineer. The term of this agreement is approximately 39 months, from April 6th of this year through June 30th of 2029. The CME Flex benefit for the 2026 plan year remains the same as it was when they were under the unrepresented management group, and then will be increased to $24.06 per month for the 2027 plan year and the 2028 plan year. There will also be an additional increase up to $2,575 a month for the 2029 plan year. The opt-out amount remains static throughout the term of the agreement. The year 1 adjustments include a one-time payment of $2,639, plus they will also receive a 3% salary range adjustment that is also applied to the pay of employees. The first phase of range adjustments towards market median will be made effective December 28th of 26. In year 2, the second market rate median adjustment will be made, followed by a 3% adjustment to all salary ranges and employees, with the bottom 5% of all those salary ranges being eliminated. In year 3, the salary ranges will again be adjusted to achieve market median under the compensation study, and then increased by 3%, which will also be applied to employees' pay. The 3-year cost of implementation is estimated at just over $1.1 million, with approximately $200,000 for year 1 costs being absorbed by staff vacancies. The costs for years 2 and 3 will be included in future budgets. Staff recommends that the City Council consider the terms and conditions of the Simi Valley Engineers Association and place this matter on the April 20th City Council meeting agenda for adoption. That concludes staff's presentation, and the royal we, are available for questions.
Thank you. This was a long time coming forward, so we appreciate having it today. Any questions, concerns from the council? I'm open for a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move to consider the proposed terms and conditions of the Memorandum of Understanding with the Simi Valley Engineers Association, SVEA, as presented, and allow the public an opportunity to provide input prior to making a final determination on the MOU, and place this matter on the April 20th, 2026 City Council Board of Directors meeting for agenda for final determination on the proposed MOU.
Second.
Thank you. Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Ayala,
Yes.
Councilmember Rhodes,
Yes.
Councilmember Judge,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lister,
Yes.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Nash.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 10A, City Council member reports.
Councilmember Ayala, you're up.
Okay. mine will be a abbreviated report, so it might go pretty quick. But on March 25th, I attended the Legislative Advocacy Forum. Southern California Edison was our guest speaker. Councilmember Rhodes is probably going to expand a little bit more, but what I got out of it, for everyone to know, as if you don't know already, is there will be more shutoffs. And their message to us was, it's up to us as individuals to take care of our own selves and our own backups. And so they promote their rebate programs and things like that so that we are prepared and ready to go. On March 26th, I attended the swearing in for 2 new officers, Brockschmidt and Roca. And then it was school spring break for Simi Valley Schools, so I was out for a week on vacation with my daughter and family. April 5th, I attended the Easter breakfast sponsored by the Kiwanis Club at the Senior Center. Today was April 6th, was the Teacher of the Month. Congratulations to Miss Dakin, was it Dakin? Dakin at Sinaloa Middle School. She was a science teacher. I also attended the swearing in of Officer Cruz. He came over from the Ventura County Sheriff's Office to join us. And I also met with a representative from Big Brothers Big Sisters who wants to partner better with the city in regards to outreach, especially in regards to getting high school mentors for elementary school mentees. And so we talked a little bit about how that partnership could work. So with only here a few days, that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Rhodes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On Tuesday, March 24th, I attended the Conejo Valley Chamber Legislative Zoom and saw the Southern Cal Edison presentation for the first time. As stated, it's Be Self-Reliant is the theme of Edison's thing, and I got to actually hear that presentation not once, not twice, but 3 times between the last council meeting and now. On Tuesday, March 24th, I got to do something pretty spectacular. I saw a fire safety demo at a mobile home community in Sylmar, where they have created, and I think this is, if there's opportunities to do this in Simi, we should be looking at it. The homeowners that own the units agreed to go to Zone 0. And so they participated in that way. The people who own the landowners, invested in a whole community fire suppression system. They built a 640,000-gallon tank on site and have deployable infrastructure of hoses all through the community, and also completely have a perimeter around the community. And they did a demonstration of firing these things up and just drenching segments of the community. So not only will their neighborhood not burn, the one downwind won't burn as well. And it's a tremendous system if they can get the insurance company, which agreed to keep their insurance in place while they were installing this, if they can get a 15% reduction in the overhead, or the insurance fees, it'll pay for the overhead of running that operation year-round. So that was a significant thing, and I think there are applications, and that's how a whole community gets around fire resilience. On Wednesday, March 25th, I attended our Simi Chamber Legislative Affairs meeting and got the Edison presentation again. I also, Thursday, March 26th, I attended the SCAG Event Committee. This is the committee putting on the yearly gathering where we vote on different ordinances or different changes to the operating bylaws of SCAG, the General Assembly. Also that day, I attended a swearing-in ceremony of 2 new officers. On Friday, March 27th, Housing Community Cal Cities, Sacramento. Did I go to Sacramento? Wow. I went to a housing committee of Cal Cities, and that was, I think, that was Costa Mesa. Yes, to Costa Mesa, and attended that. The Saturday, March 28th, I did not attend Bingo Bonanza, sorry. Tuesday, March 31st, I did have a call with a representative of Airbnb, their legal representative that actually works on ordinances for different communities, and got some insight from her on how they're working with other cities. I had also on that day a meet and greet with the new president of Adventist Health. And that night, up at Mount Sycamore, I was in charge of the cross lighting, our Rotary Club.
Mount McCoy.
Isn't that what I just said?
You said Mount Sycamore.
Did I really? Holy crap, I'm reading ahead. Mount McCoy, and our Rotary Club each year, the Holy Week, we go up each night and light up the cross. So if you ever during the week look up and go, wow, that's really cool, that's us doing that. And Tuesday was my night. It was a torrential downpour, and it was lit anyway. Let's see. On Thursday, April 2nd, I attended via Zoom the Clean Power Alliance board meeting. On Sunday, April 6th, I also attended the swearing-in ceremony this morning of Officer Cruz, and that ends my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Judge.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On Friday, March 27th, I attended the League of California Cities Public Safety Committee meeting in Costa Mesa. Not a whole bunch in there. There was a lot of stuff talked about, and it was a very lively discussion. Mostly to just say we support or don't support bills coming up before the legislature. Nothing that impacts our local law enforcement here that I could see, but there will be some stuff coming before the legislative session is over, I'm sure. Continue to monitor that for us. On Friday, April 3rd, I attended the Ventura County Transportation Committee, and out of that, we took a look at our fiscal year budget for the years coming up, and it's much smaller than last year's budget, so that kind of concerns some people, but we'll make do and get through it. Also, I wanted to mention the Regional Fare Payment Program, which we got an update on. So now if you ride one of the Ventura County Transportation Blue buses, you don't need to have cash, you don't need to have a bus pass, you just need a credit card. It's tap and go, and you get on the bus and go wherever you need to go. They mentioned something in that thing about Simi Valley going to that? Simi Valley, the tap and go, where you use, yep, cool. Very convenient for people who want to ride public transportation. You no longer need cash, and you no longer need a bus pass. You just have to have your credit card. So take advantage of it. Remember, students still ride for free. And that is, I was also at the swearing this morning for Officer Cruz. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Litster.
Thank you. Thursday, March 26th, I actually stepped into the city SE where they were hosting that public safety power shutoff event for the seniors. And I want to thank those who put it on. I know there was a lot of questions there at the information table. I think Councilmember Rhodes was there. My takeaway is that there are a lot of articulate seniors who are keeping track of things and trying to make everyone accountable. And so it was actually very good, and hope we do it again. I thought it was very good. That afternoon, I also attended the swearing in of Officers Edward Brockschmidt and Officer Joshua Roca, who graduated from the Ventura County Criminal Justice Training Center. I also I will say that the ad hoc film committee met. Translation, Dee Dee and I met to work on with the ad hoc committee and discuss our concerns and our areas of research, et cetera. And we'll report as we gather information. March 27th, I too drove down to Costa Mesa, where for the League of Cities, I'm on the Environmental Quality Policy Committee. We discussed positions to take on different legislation going forward. And I'll share that as but there's nothing earth-shattering. It was, as far as positions, they tend to be fairly neutral. I will say, we're talking about SCE. One of the sidebar conversations I had there was with SCE rep, who basically acknowledged that as long as they have 100% liability, they will continue to turn things off whenever it gets a little dicey or they're concerned. And so I really think the state needs to revisit the liability model and some shared situation so they have no incentive to turn it off. And I think we should put our efforts that direction. Saturday, March 28th was my husband's birthday. Happy birthday, Greg. On Tuesday, March the 31st, I too attended the new president of Adventist Health Simi Valley introduction. His name is President Austin perky pile. And what I want to bring to your attention is it's nice that they're now, in the past, obviously, we had recently a shared president. This is someone who's dedicated to Simi Valley. He's moving back from the Midwest, I would say, Kansas, and was shopping for a home in Simi Valley this week. So I'm glad that we have that representation coming to Simi Valley, and he seems to be a very, very circumspect and likable gentleman. I hope he does good things for us. On Sunday, happy Easter, by the way. I should say happy Easter to, and happy Passover. And anyway, it was a time of celebration for a lot of people of faith. I attended the Easter sunrise breakfast for a bit. It was good to see Councilmember Ayala there with his mother and sister. And Candace sung on stage with, it was lovely. Anyway, I thought it was lovely that what was taking place there. And thank you to the Kiwanis Club of putting that on, getting up early Sunday morning to make that a special time for our seniors. A little bit about my activities today. This morning, yes, I attended the swearing in of Officer Cruz. He's moving laterally from the Sheriff's Department. Delighted to take him in, to have him join us. I also met with a constituent who is desirous to build a residential facility, and there's some real questions about, in fact, I'll have a conversation, Stratus, with you afterwards. I'd love to chat with you about requirements for if you have a few more than 6 people, so we can talk more about that. And then also, and then the final thing is this evening, I also had part of our ad hoc film committee meeting. I appreciated visiting with Ryan Fowler, Angel Sierra, our city manager, Sam Agarbright, to really get to understand the process of film permitting and what's involved. And I learned quite a bit. Thank you for taking the time to put it all together, Ryan, and et cetera. A lot of work, I know, but it was very educational, and I think there was some constructive conversation about steps the city is taking, and I think it'll be fun for us to direct our efforts in that conversation. So again, thank you for all that everyone's doing in the city.
Thank you. Mine's going to be short like Councilmember Ayala's. So on Thursday, March 26th, I met with Mayor Pro Tem Litster regarding our filming ad hoc committee. Kind of put our brains together and said, let's start and go this way. So we each got our marching orders, so we're working on that. I then spent the next week on spring break out of town with my family, and that was great. And then I have out-of-state family visiting now. So I haven't done a whole lot this week or these last 2 weeks, but it's been nice to be relaxed and not at work. And then before tonight's meeting, I met with our city manager and our city attorney. We had a couple of things to discuss, and that's it for me. So,
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 10B, council member requests for future items.
does anybody have anything?
Just a
Councilmember Ayala?
clarification. For the flags that Councilmember Judge brought up, is that just a internal policy thing, or does that have to be something that we talk about here?
So I heard consensus from 3, 4, 5. And I can get with staff on that. I don't know that there's anything that we need to bring back to you guys. I just need to talk to staff about what we're currently doing and how we're retiring those. And if there would be any issues that we need to consider for us to go to a business to do that kind of ceremony. And if there is some kind of policy implication, then we'll bring an item back to council.
Okay.
Thank you, yes. Because you have to renew the letter in order for it to be maintained, and they're supposed to be active duty. So when they come down, okay. Now, I think it's a good idea. We'll see if we can do it. Great, thank you very much. Appreciate that. So tonight, we will be adjourning in memory of Levi Vargas, he's a deputy with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and Lee Johnson, a local business owner and resident. So we're adjourned. Thank you.